Jai Gurudev. Good? Was the meditation good? Yeah. Okay. So we have to begin with the story of Sikhidwaja and his wife Kudala. I had given you homework. Hopefully you have all done the homework. It was just reading page 287, the story part. Yes? Okay, good. So let's start with page 288. Yeah, the story of Sikhidwaja and his wife. The story continues into page 289. So we'll read 288 and 289 in one go. And please pay attention. I will not read the whole story again. I will just revisit only the knowledge part. Yeah. So who is going to start reading now?
I can. Vasistha continued. Even so, Rama remained in a state of equanimity like King Bhagirath, and like Sikhidwaja, having renounced everything, remained unmoved. I shall narrate to you the story of Sikhidwaja. Pray listen. Once there were two lovers who were reborn in a later age on account of their divine love for each other. Rama asked, O sage, how is it possible that the couple who live together as husband and wife in one age is born again to be husband and wife in a later age? Vasistha replied. Such is the subtle nature of the world order, O Rama. Some things appear in abundance and once again they manifest in abundance. Others are born now, having never been born before. And having been now, they are not born again. Others which have been before reappear in the same form now. It is like the waves on the ocean. There are similar ones and there are dissimilar ones. In the Malwa region, in the Malwa kingdom, there was a king named Sikhidwaja. He was endowed with every kind of royal excellence. He was righteous and noble, courageous and courteous. He lost his father very early in life. Though young, he was able to assert his sovereignty and he ruled the kingdom assisted by his able ministers. The spring season set in. There was romance in the air. The young king began to dream of a partner. Day and night his heart longed for the beloved. The clever and wise ministers divined the state of their king's heart. They went to the Saurashtra kingdom and sought the hand of a princess for their king. Soon the king Sikhidwaja married Chudala. Sikhidwaja and Chudala were so greatly devoted to each other that they were one jiva in two bodies. They shared many common interests and they played together in the pleasure gardens. Even as the sun sends down his rays to make the lotus unfold, the king showered his beloved with his love and tried to please her in every way. They shared their knowledge and their wisdom with each other so that both of them became highly learned in all branches of knowledge. Each dwelt in all radiance in the other's heart. In fact, it appeared as if the Lord Vishnu and his consort had come down on earth in order to accomplish a special mission. Vasistha continued. Thus Sikhidwaja and Chudala enjoyed themselves for a number of years without a dull moment. No one can arrest the passage of time. Life appears and disappears like a juggler's trick. Pleasure, when pursued, flies beyond reach even as an arrow which has left the bow. Sorrow preys upon the mind even as vultures prey upon a carcass. What is there in this world having attained which the mind is never again subjected to sorrow? Reflecting thus, the royal couple turned their attention to the study of spiritual texts. They came to the conclusion that self-knowledge alone can enable one to overcome sorrow. They devoted themselves to self-knowledge with their heart and soul. They resorted to the company of sages of self-knowledge and adored them. They engaged themselves constantly in discussing self-knowledge and and in promoting self-knowledge in each other. Having thus constantly contemplated the means of self-knowledge, the Queen began to reflect thus. Now I see myself and inquire, who am I? How could ignorance of self and delusion arise? The physical body is surely inert and it is certainly not the self. It is experienced only on account of the movement of thought in the mind. The organs of actions are but parts of the body, and hence they too are inert, being parts of the body which is inert. The sense organs are inert too, for they depend upon the mind for their function. I consider even the mind to be inert. The mind thinks and entertains notions, but it is prompted to do so by the intellect, which is the determining agent. Even this intellect buddhi is surely inert, for it is directed by the ego sense. Even this ego sense is inert, for it is conjured up by the jiva, just as a ghost is conjured up by the ignorant child. The jiva is but pure consciousness, closed as it were by the life force, and it dwells in the heart. Lo and behold, I have realized that it is the self which is pure consciousness and dwells as a jiva, because the consciousness becomes aware of itself as its own object. This object is insentient and unreal, and because the self identifies itself with this object, it apparently clothes itself with insentience, having apparently, but not in truth, abandoned its essential nature as consciousness. For such is the nature of consciousness. Whatever it conceives itself to be, whether real or imaginary, that it becomes, apparently having abandoned its own nature. Thus, though the self is pure consciousness, it imagines itself to be insentient and unreal on the account of its perception of objects. Contemplating thus for a considerable time, Chudala became enlightened.
Okay. So I won't do the story part where Sikhidwaja wanted to get married and then he gets married to her and they really, have a fantastic relationship. Not just as simply the way we see a relationship between a husband and wife, but they were authentic spiritual companions. They contributed to each other's spiritual growth. That was the most beautiful part of their relationship. Yeah? And how does that beautiful part begin? It's right on the top at page 289, the first paragraph. Sikhidwaja and Kudala enjoyed themselves for a number of years without a dull moment. After that begins their thought process. As a couple, they are thinking like this. No one can arrest the passage of time. Life appears and disappears like a juggler's trick. Pleasure, when pursued, flies beyond reach, even as an arrow which has left the bow. Sorrow preys upon the mind, even as vultures prey upon a carcass. Haven't you noticed this in life? Everything that you hold on to, that you want to grasp, that you want to have, it lasts a very little time. You feel, oh, it has lasted 3 years, 5 years, it is a lot, but it is not really a lot. Yeah, look at those 3 to 5 years in comparison to all the 80,000, 84,000 lifetimes that you've probably taken. It's nothing, it's a tiny speck. So really, everything in life is temporary. Yeah? You can never hold on to anything, not your house, not your money, not your favorite car, not your favorite shoes or bags or whatever you like so much. Nothing, not even relationships can you really hold on to long enough. Yeah? So recognize this, that it is the effect of Maya, that everything is like passing, just passing by. You are sitting in a train, the train is moving, and everything outside is moving. It's passing by. Nothing you can hold on to from outside. Not a single station, not a single city, not a single person on that platform. Everything is moving. Recognize this. Yeah? This is the recognition that both of them came to as a couple. They enjoyed themselves, yeah, as a couple, and they realized that time just flies. Yeah? And really holding on to pleasures is not really pleasure. Yeah? This is very beautiful when husband and wife walk together on the path. They can help each other. Otherwise, one goes ahead and the other is behind. The one who's behind tends to pull the other one back. Right? So that is why I always say husband and wife, couples walk together. Yeah. What is there in this world, having attained which the mind is never again subjected to sorrow? This was the main question in both their minds. They enjoyed everything. They enjoyed the pleasure of getting married and of being together for a long time. And they were in a palace. They were king and queen, so they already had money and other pleasures of the world that we are currently running for because we don't have mansions like them. Yeah. They had all those pleasures and they still came to this question. What is there in this world, having attained which the mind is never again subjected to sorrow? Homework number 1 for you. Has such a question ever arisen in you? Or are you still enjoying those petty pleasures of life? TV, Facebook, Twitter, this friend, that little party, that praise, that award, that medal, that promotion, yeah? New relationship. Are you still stuck in these little petty things? Or has this question arisen in you? Reflecting thus, the royal couple turned their attention to the study of spiritual texts. They came to the conclusion that self-knowledge alone can enable one to overcome sorrow. They devoted themselves to self-knowledge with their heart and soul. They resorted to the company of sages of self-knowledge and adored them. They engaged themselves constantly in discussing self-knowledge and in promoting self-knowledge in each other. Yeah. So much devotion to knowledge that not only when they went to the sages or when they were reading the scriptures, but even regular discussion between the husband and wife was on the topics of knowledge. Homework number 2 for you. Are you doing that? What are your most favorite topics of conversation? Is it self-knowledge or is it knowledge how to attain material prosperity, yeah? Or how to attain more popularity? Yeah? Is it material knowledge that you're more interested in, or is it self-knowledge that you're more interested in? Yeah? And if it is not self-knowledge yet, start making little effort. Discuss only knowledge. Yeah? Gurudev has said this very beautiful thing, no? Some time ago. When you speak, speak only knowledge. Otherwise, keep silent. Yeah. Having thus constantly contemplated the means of self-knowledge, the queen began to reflect thus. Now I see myself and inquire, who am I? How could ignorance of self and delusion arise? The physical body is surely inert and it is certainly not the self. Okay, so she's saying, who am I? She starts with the body. Simple people like us think, oh, this physical body is who I am. Yeah, so she starts, okay, let me look at this body. And when she actually meditated and looked, oh, this body is inert. Inert means what? It cannot be alive by itself. Yeah, it doesn't have a life of its own. Somebody asked me 2 days ago, how do I come to this understanding that I am not the body? It's very difficult for me. I think I am the body only. So I give her the example. Take the example of a candle. Yeah, the wax of the candle is the body, and that little flame is who you are really. You are that consciousness. That wax does not have any value when there is no flame. It is just junk. You can throw it away. Yeah, it will not serve the purpose of a candle. Correct? Yeah. What gives that wax its value? That little flame. Are you getting this? You are that flame, and you change your wax body lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Yeah. So that which changes lifetime after lifetime, how can that be I? Yeah. I am that consciousness, that beautiful flame, that which is keeping this body alive. On its own, this body is inert. It is junk. Yeah, it is that candle which does not have a flame. It cannot live by itself. This is clear? Yeah. This Kudala recognized in her meditation when she goes deep within and contemplates and recognizes, oh, this body is just inert. It's like a piece of wood. And she goes further to describe it. It is experienced only on account of the movement of thought in the mind. So when she withdrew her consciousness from the body to the mind level and recognized, oh, when you have moved away from the body into the mind, in your meditation, you recognize, oh, you have no sensation in the body, as if it is inert. It's only the movement of the mind that actually makes this body alive. She will take a next step where she'll go beyond the mind even. Yeah? And that's where mind will lose its value. Yeah? The organs of action are but parts of the body, and hence they too are inert. What are the organs of action? Hands, legs, speech, and excretion and procreation. These are the 5 organs of action. We've done these before. These are inert. Why? They are just parts of the body. And she already said body is inert. So obviously the parts of the body are also inert. The sense organs are inert too. What are the sense organs? Sight, sound, touch, taste and smell. All these 5 sense organs, they are also of the body. So if the body is inert, even these 5 sense organs are inert. Yeah? Inert, you understand. Of its own accord, it has no life. Yeah? Without the flame, the wax body has no meaning. It is just junk. Like that only. Without the consciousness, these sense organs or the organs of action or the body is totally useless. It is junk. I consider even the mind to be inert. This is beautiful. Now, I perceive something. I perceive a pink highlighter. Who has perceived? Is this mass called I perceiving the pink color? No, na? If this body is dead and this eye is still open, will this eye perceive this pink color highlighter? No. So what is perceiving the pink color highlighter? The chitta behind. You remember? Some of us have attended the Buddha session. Yeah? So the sanya chitta recognizes, oh, pink color. Yeah? So it is my mind that really recognizes what I see, what I smell, what I taste, what I touch, what I hear. Yeah? It is not the body. Even though these 5 sense organs are on the body, the mind uses them as doors, yeah, from where information comes in. As simple as that. So even this mind is inert now. So she started with body is inert, then she said the organs of action are inert, the 5 senses are inert, and obviously 5 senses are perceived by the mind, even the mind is inert. Because that mind cannot exist without the consciousness. Clear? The mind thinks and entertains notions, but is prompted to do so by the intellect, which is the determining agent. Even this intellect is surely inert. Yeah? So, this mind just perceives the data. Intellect processes, analyzes, judges, puts labels. Yeah? Even that is inert. So, all the types of chittas that we have done, whether they belong to the perception faculty or they belong to the analysis faculty, all of them are inert. You're understanding inert very clearly, right? That which cannot exist by itself or of its own accord. Yeah? That which needs something else. Okay? It's not really alive or it's not sentient. Even this intellect or buddhi is surely inert, for it is directed by the ego sense. Even this ego sense is inert, for it is conjured up by the jiva, just as a ghost is conjured up by the ignorant child. So we came up to the intellect also being inert, but who says, I want this, I like this, I hate this? Where is it coming from? I know that I, that false identity is ego. That is also inert. It does not have any reality. It does not hold any water. Clear? And it is, all this is just like a ghost seen by an ignorant child. So he is coming back to that truth that he has been talking about since the beginning, that everything that I see, people, situations and things are just my dream. I want, I don't want, this want and don't want created all this. Everything is just conjured up by the jiva. Clear? The jiva is but pure consciousness, clothed as it were by the life force, and it dwells in the heart. Yeah, basically, this jiva or that individual consciousness is run by Brahman consciousness or life force. Yeah. And where does it exist? Yeah. In the heart of the subtle body. Remember this? We've done this in Upanishads. Yeah. In that emotional heart heart of yours, not this physical heart. That's where the causal body or the consciousness or the soul is. Lo and behold, I have realized that it is the self which is pure consciousness that dwells as the jiva, because the consciousness becomes aware of itself as its own object. This is a very important point. Many people on the path say, okay, who is recognizing I am not this body? I am not this mind? Who is saying, who is even reading this knowledge? Who is understanding? Yeah? If you really check, look within, you will not be able to find this I only. If you have sincerely contemplated, sat down, closed your eyes and gone within one step by one step, take a step beyond the body, beyond the mind, beyond the intellect, beyond the ego, you will realize all this is nothing but thought form. It comes and it goes, it does not exist. Yeah? So who is recognizing who? Yeah? This consciousness, this awareness faculty in me is recognizing its own self. It's like you have forgotten your own self. There are people who go through certain situations, traumatic situations in life, and they experience amnesia, or where they totally forget everything. They completely lose memory. They don't even remember their own names. It's exactly the same situation where the consciousness has forgotten itself completely. Spirituality means what? This consciousness wakes up to its own self, or recognizes its own self, or becomes aware of its own self. Got it? So that's why that sutra is very important. This object is insentient and unreal. And because the self identifies itself with this object, it apparently clothes itself with insentience, having apparently, but not in truth, abandoned its essential nature as consciousness. Yeah? So, highlight this particular sutra. It's one of the most important sutras. A lot of people think it is the mind that is trying to identify itself. Yeah? A lot of people get stuck in this thinking it is the intellect. Oh, we are doing self-knowledge. Knowledge means jnana. Oh, and who understands jnana? Intellect. Oh, intellect is identifying the consciousness. No. Be very, very clear. The consciousness recognizes its own self. The consciousness recognizes, oh, I had forgotten myself. I had abandoned my own nature as consciousness. It's not really abandoning, but it's like forgetting, a forgetfulness of your own self. I'll give you another example how you can relate to this. Maybe in college, maybe with friends, or maybe you had a love relationship earlier in life where you got totally colored with the other person. You forgot yourself and just, we please our friends, to please them, we become like them, do things like them. Yeah. And we tend to forget really our own nature because, I have to fit in. I have to be a part of this group, or I have to be like this person. Oh, this is cool. This is trendy. So you tend to get colored with the other person. Yeah, it could have been a friend. It could have been a love relationship. It could be anything, even with siblings. So for a few years, you remained like that till the time you were in the company of that person. And one fine day, that company goes away. Everything in life is temporary. And suddenly you realize that you start changing. Or maybe you don't realize, but you do start changing. And down the road, when you look back, you realize, oh, this is my real nature. And before this, I was just kind of enacting or trying to be something that I was not. Happened to you? Yeah. Maybe in school, college, yeah. When we are very, very young, we don't understand, no? The value of being natural, the value of being simple. We can get colored with trends also. Yeah, girls will wear all this stylish thing like this, like that. And now when they look back at their photograph from 10 years ago, I did that, I wore that. Don't you have at least one picture like that of yours that you don't want anybody to see? Yeah, so how you had forgotten what your natural self was in this lifetime you have an experience? Multiply that by 1,000 times. Forgetting that for so many lifetimes. Yeah? Because we get caught up in Maya. This Maya is so strong, it makes us forget our own self. Then you keep running behind Maya of money, Maya of relationships, Maya of this thing, that thing, name, fame, run, and you realize that somewhere you're not at peace. It's not giving you that joy. Something is missing in life. You may have money, you may have fantastic relationships, you may have all the clothes in the world you could want, all the cars in the world, all the jewelry, everything, and you still are feeling there's something missing in life. That's the moment, the first moment, where your relationship starts breaking with that old you and the new you starts sprouting. Actually, you're just coming back to your old self. Yeah? This coloring which was there in the middle because of exposure to external agents, this coloring starts fading away. And that is the spiritual path where you come back to your original self. Understood? Yeah. Why this entire sutra is important, you got it, right? It actually signifies how we have all gotten lost in conditioning of this Maya with friends, with family, with colleagues, with name, fame, money, run tendency. And suddenly we decide, okay, let me stop and see. That's your first step into spirituality. Yeah, where you look within. That's why it's called of the spirit. Spiritual of the spirit. Clear? Huh. Yes, Akul.
Sakul or Nitesh?
Oh, go ahead, Nitesh.
I'll take a long time, so you go ahead.
Okay. So this body, this mind, this intellect, so they are the tools to grab, tools to like study knowledge or listen to knowledge. But ultimately, they are not the experiencer. Because if we don't have a strong intellect or strong mind, we cannot even grasp this knowledge. But sometimes when you say that the knowledge is not at the intellectual level, if that means if you have not experienced, that means self does not get impacted until you experience the knowledge. So when it comes at the experience level, only then it gets impacted. Until that, the knowledge remains at the inert level.
Perfect. Because mind is inert, intellect is inert. Mind trying to understand this book and by heart this book will not be able to get it. Following Vasistha's step, when I listen to Vasistha and I actually close my eyes, go within, really contemplate, withdraw from the body, go to the mind, withdraw from the mind, go to the intellect, withdraw from the intellect, go to the ego, withdraw from the ego even, and then recognize that quiet solitude, that nothingness, that emptiness, which is so full also. Unless I experience that, there is no way out.
Until that, basically the knowledge has been limited at the inert parts of our body or mind or soul.
Yes, yes. So you have to start with inert, because I don't know anything else. When I'm not on the spiritual path, all I know is I am this body, and I know people, and I know situations, and I know things, and I want to grab people, situations, things. I am totally inert, even in my understanding, even in my thinking. I have not started the spiritual path yet. But then running, I realize, oh, there is something missing. And I hit upon a spiritual path, or I meet a guru, or I meet somebody who helps me just calm down, go within. That's the first step, where I take a step back from that inert world of mine. Got it? So taking a step back from the inert world is essential. Otherwise, the consciousness cannot experience itself. If you look at that sutra again, it says it apparently clothes itself with insentience. Means what? That consciousness got so caught up in Maya, it got caught up in the inert mind, in the inert intellect, in the inert ego. The consciousness forgot itself and started thinking, I am this inert mind, inert ego, inert body even. Got it? So now that consciousness, which has forgotten everything, has to come out of that juta muta, the false belief. Yeah, and it can only come out by its own experience. Not by reading the scriptures, not by listening to another person's talks, but by going within. So some people are Gyan yogis. They need knowledge to understand, okay, I need to close my eyes and I need to go within and experience this. Some people, on the other hand, are bhakts. Yeah? They have devotion, they have love. They are so much in the heart, they are not in the head. Knowledge is not important. They are so much in the heart. Just love helps them go within. And love with not another physical body, not a male or female. Yeah? Love which goes beyond one single male or female. And that's why you don't look at a guru as a male or a female. He's a combination of both the Shaktis for us. That is why we put a guru at the level of God. And when we put something at the level of God, that love which blossoms within gets us automatically in touch with our nature, because the nature of consciousness itself is love. Got it? So that is a separate path of the devotee. Means path of the person who is in the heart.
But the jiva itself is fully knowledgeable and it's full of love, but it still needs that external trigger.
Yes.
Understand that?
Only because that line, no, it apparently clothes itself with insentience. Only because of that. Because it is lost. It is lost in Maya. For example, I make Sakul go on stage. Okay, you have to act for the next 3 hours that you are Ravana. Now 3 hours over, drama over, lights off, everybody goes home, but Sakul is still standing on that stage and still behaving like Ravana. Sakul has forgotten he's Sakul. Sakul thinks he is Ravana. That is what has happened to the consciousness. Any other question?
So, I have a question. So, when we said the process of this, who am I? The consciousness is becoming aware of itself, correct?
Yes.
Now, this line confuses me. It says, I have realized, so I'm just going to paraphrase, she realizes that the self, which is pure consciousness, becomes a jiva. Now the second, because onwards confuses me, because the consciousness becomes aware of itself as its own object. I thought that's what we want.
Brahman consciousness, the pool of consciousness, okay? Now, in that pool of consciousness, there is no I, there is no you. There is nothingness. That Brahman consciousness, in that there is just a little wave, a little vibration on a chord of Maya. Yeah? One little wave experienced by this little wave suddenly says I. So this individual consciousness becomes the object of the Brahman consciousness. The Brahman consciousness is the pool, and this one individual wave in that pool is the object of the Brahman consciousness.
It's the part and the whole relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
All good? Any other question? For such is the nature of consciousness. Whatever it conceives itself to be, whether real or imaginary, that it becomes. This is very, very important. That consciousness, that little wave in that Brahman consciousness pool said I. Yeah, that wave must have said I am earth. It becomes earth. Another wave says I am water. It becomes water. Another wave says I am fire. It becomes fire. Whatever first thought you have, so you will be. Now apply this to everyday life. Whatever is happening in your life, you have wished for it. You will say, no, there is something very bad happening in my life right now. Yeah, financial trouble, relationship trouble, or job trouble, or some other trouble. I didn't ask for this. You asked for it by saying, I don't want this. Universe does not understand your I want and I don't want. Yeah, everybody's speaking in all the languages. That's not what universe understands. We've discussed this n number of times. Universe understands your energy of attraction or repulsion. And for the universe, attraction is equal to repulsion, same energy. So it definitely brings it into your life. Got it? So whatever you think about, that will be in your life. Yeah? We are going to take this same thing a little deeper in the Buddha weekend. Yeah? Where even Lord Buddha speaks about this, but he is so analytical, he actually gives you what cause leads to what effect and how that becomes another cause and that leads to the next effect right from the beginning of the universe till today. Yeah. So on the same lines Vasistha is saying, whatever it conceives itself to be, whether real or imaginary, that it becomes, apparently having abandoned its own nature. Thus, though the self is pure consciousness, it imagines itself to be insentient and unreal on account of its perception of objects. Yeah? So that consciousness only, because of its own Maya, it gets lost in The ego and the intellect and the mind in the body, these are all inert. So consciousness also forgets that it is sentient. It thinks I am insentient or I am inert like these. Clear? Yeah. Contemplating thus for a considerable amount of time, Kudala becomes enlightened. Has this become clear for you too? That whatever is in your life is because of your own thought. Yeah. Whatever, good, bad, happy, sad, you have attracted it. Yeah. So homework number 4. Recognize all that you have attracted in your life. Good, bad, happy, sad, right, wrong, whatever it is. You are responsible for attracting that. Yeah. Part 1 of the question, do you take complete responsibility? Or are you still blaming, she did it, he did it, it's because of that, or God did it? Yeah. Are you still blaming external people, situations, or things, or God? Yeah. And part 2 of that, can you make a conscious effort now that I will not indulge in this want or not want in the mind? Let that first thought of seeking come. The moment I recognize it, I'm going to just let it be. I'm not going to start creating castles out of it. Now there is the first thought comes, and then I say, then we'll do this, then I'll do this, then I'll do this, then I've started creating such a big chain. Yeah? Let the first thought come, I will not create the chain. Just observe it. Observe it. It will burn you, it will knock at you, it will want you to start talking with it. It will not leave you. But just observe the sensation, and then just let it drop. No internal dialogue. Yeah. Let's see how life goes. Yeah. This sounds very simple, but it's a very, very tough assignment. Yeah. Up for it? Yeah. So starting this moment, every little thought, little desire, just observe. Yeah. Don't indulge, neither in a raga nor in a dvesha. Yeah. So let's read the next page quickly.
Ektaji, one question. In the bold, in that some things appear in abundance and once again they manifest in abundance. Just the bold.
Page 288. Okay, page 288, the bold one. So his question is how husband and wife from this lifetime became husband and wife in the next lifetime. Yeah. So here he is talking about the nature of niyati or karma. Yeah. Niyati is that board of directors that lays down the policies and procedures, how karma will, how the cause and effect will work. Yeah. And karma is really your particular karma that comes to you. Such is the subtle nature of the world order, O Rama. Some things appear in abundance and once again they manifest in abundance. Yeah? So you do not know what is going to happen. Yeah? Just because you're rich today doesn't mean you're going to be rich tomorrow. Just because today you have everything, even knowledge, guru, lot of spiritual influence all around you, you could consider that as abundance. Maybe it comes back as abundance, maybe it does not come back as abundance. We don't know how it will happen. Yeah, that's what he's saying here. some things appear in abundance and once again they manifest in abundance. Others are born now, having never been born before. And having been now, they are not born again. Yeah. This is just another way of saying what you have today, it's not necessary that you will have tomorrow. Yeah. And not necessary that the same thing that you have today you had in your previous lifetime. Yeah. It's just the nature of things or nature of karma or niyati that everything is uncertain. You do not know which impression of yours is so strong enough that it is going to sprout in a karma phalam. Yeah, people say, no, I will make this sprout. I am going to work hard on this. Work. Suddenly something else sprouts. And you're like, how did this happen? I was working in this direction and everything started happening here. But I want that. But this is happening. This is also good. This is fantastic. But the mind is stuck in that. Happens, no, in life? Yeah. The uncertainty of the principle of karma is what is underlined here. Simple, nothing else. Yeah. It is like the waves on the ocean. There are similar ones and then there are dissimilar ones. That's all it is. The uncertainty of the principle of karma and niyati. Very clear? Answered your question?
All good.
Okay. So let's read the next page quickly.
I can read. Vasistha continued. Delighted by this self-discovery, the queen exclaimed, "At last I have attained that which is to be attained, known. Now there is no loss. Even the mind and the senses are but the reflections of consciousness, though they are unreal independently of consciousness. This supreme consciousness alone exists. It is the supreme truth, untainted by any impurity, forever in a state of perfect equilibrium and devoid of ego sense. Once this truth is realized, it shines constantly without setting. It is this consciousness that is known by various names, Brahman, Supreme Self, etc. In it, there is no division into subject, object, and their relationship, knowledge. Consciousness becomes conscious of its own consciousness. It cannot be realized otherwise, as an object of consciousness. It is this consciousness alone that is manifest as the mind, intellect, and the senses. This world appearance, too, is but consciousness, apart from which nothing is. Consciousness does not undergo any change. The only apparent change is the illusory appearance, which is illusory and therefore not real. In an imaginary ocean, imaginary waves arise. The mind stuff itself is the ocean, and the waves are of the mind stuff too. Even so, the word appearance arises in consciousness and is therefore not different from it. I am pure consciousness, devoid of ego sense and all pervading. There is neither birth nor death for this consciousness. It is not subject to destruction, for it is like space. It cannot be cut or burned. It is pure light of consciousness, without defect. I am free from all delusion. I am at peace. All these gods, demons, and numerous beings are essentially unmade, for they are not different from the consciousness. The appearance is illusory, even as soldiers made of clay are clay, not soldiers. The seer, subject, and the seen, object, are in reality the one pure consciousness. How is this delusion, which gives rise to concepts like this is oneness and there is duality, come into being? In whom does that delusion exist? Who is it? Whose is it? I rest in nirvana, liberation or enlightenment, without the least mental agitation, having realized that all that is, whether sentient or insentient, is pure consciousness. There is no this or I or the other. There is no being or non-being. All this is peace. Having thus realized, Kudala rested in supreme peace.
So it is only Kudala's. So this whole page is just about her realization. Yeah, she's just reiterating what we have already heard Vasistha say from the beginning of the scripture. Delighted by this self-discovery, the queen exclaimed, "At last I have attained that which is to be attained." No. Yeah, this is very important, this sentence. There is really nothing else that is worthy of attainment. How much ever money you make, yeah, one day you are going to leave it behind. It's not worthy of attainment. Even if you think it will go to my children, at least my children will use it. Your children might say, "Oh, I don't want dad or mom's money." Or your children might not value it so much, and in fact it may spoil the child's life. Because the child says, "Oh, I have so much money, I don't need to work." His or her individuality does not sprout. So even money, same with name, same with fame, is not worthy of attainment. This is very clearly underlined in all the scriptures. So does that mean we stop working? We stop taking care of family? No. Very clearly it will tell you on the next page how Kudala continued to live, which we have done in Ashtavakra. Be spontaneous, be natural. Flow with the current of the river. Just like a leaf flows with the river. It does not say, "I want this" or "I don't want this." The leaf does not demand for cold water or hot water. It does not say, "Oh river, you have become very cold," or "Your current is too fast." It has no demands. When you start living like that, naturally, spontaneously, just flowing with the current, then you have stopped running behind attainment in life. Get it? But this has to be your own experiment. You cannot just abandon doing things because Ekta is saying, or because Vasistha is saying, or because Guruji is saying. The natural dispassion should arise in you by recognizing, "Oh, I ran after this. I attained it, and it is really dust now. This does not make sense. There is no great joy in attainment of this thing that I attained." And then it naturally drops off. That natural dispassion will take you to that point where you do not even crave attaining anything anymore. At the same time, you will see that you will not become complacent in life. It sounds very contradictory. How is it possible? But that is the most beautiful thing about it. Truth is contradictory. Where you just start floating with life, and then life takes you. You have that faith in life. "Boss, you take me. I am now not even going to swim. I am not going to fight. I am going to float." You stretch out your hands and you embrace life. Then see how life takes care of you. Then it takes care of your money. It brings diamonds. It brings clothes. It brings so many clothes they don't fit into your closet. It brings you so many computers, there's no place on the desk anymore. It brings you too much in life. Why? Because you don't have that feverishness for it anymore. There is a Kabir ka doha. कबीर मन निर्मल भया, जैसे गंगा नीर, पाछे पाछे हरि फिरे, कहत कबीर कबीर. Translated, when your mind becomes completely pure, just like the water, like Ganga, yeah, then in a pure mind there is no desire, no? So desire is not just for things, desire is for God also. You know? You first have material desires, then you start having spiritual desires. You know, desire for Guruji, desire to become art of living teacher, desire to become a siddha, desire to become enlightened, spiritual desires. Yeah. So when your heart becomes completely pure, like Ganga Neer, like the water of Ganga, there is not even that desire for God. That also desire drops. Then pache pache hari fire. Then God comes running behind you, calling you, oh Kabir, Kabir, kahan jate Kabir? Yeah. Then God brings everything your way. Yeah. Then you don't need to run behind God. God runs behind you. Yeah. But now you can't put that condition. So first God has to run behind me, then I'll stop running behind these things. Nahi chalta hai. Yeah. No conditions allowed. Yeah. There's only one way to get there. After you start floating, you let go. Then you see how everything comes. Yeah. Even the mind and the senses are but the reflections of consciousness, though they are unreal, independently of consciousness. Yeah. This mind and these senses, we already spoke, everything is inert, and if it works because of the consciousness. Yeah. So consciousness is the flame, and that wax of that candle is mind, body, senses. This supreme consciousness alone exists. It is the supreme truth, untainted by any impurity, forever in a state of perfect equilibrium and devoid of ego sense. Yeah? It is completely pure. There is no impurity of I want, I don't want. There is no I. Ego itself is impurity. Remember this. So the first impurity is I. Then the I says I want, I don't want. So the second impurity is desire. And then there is attachment to that desire. Yeah. Then there is justification by the intellect, how this desire is good, how it will help me, how it will help my family, and all that justification. Are you seeing how it goes? All this is impurity. Forever in a state of perfect equilibrium and devoid of ego sense. This is very important. Yeah? State of perfect equilibrium means I neither go up when everything is good, nor do I go down when things are not going my way. My graph does not go up and down. There is a state of constant equilibrium and devoid of ego sense. Once this truth is realized, it shines constantly without setting. This is very important. Has this truth shown even once in this lifetime to you? Has this become apparent to you? You contemplate. We'll end this session here because I've gone over time a lot today. Yeah, but I'll continue from here only next week. You read this again. Do your homework and sincerely start working on yourself. Unless you yourself meditate, unless you yourself contemplate, there is no way to get there. Yeah? So start working on yourself. Any questions? No? All good? Okay. Then I'll see you next week. Jai Gurudev.